Okay, Sunday morning with an amazing group of people. Good morning, everybody.
Happy Sunday morning.
Happy Sunday. Wanda
So
says
happy
good
Sunday.
morning to everyone. Wanda's just jumped on the call. Okay.
Good morning. So we're good to go, Carolyn?
Good morning,
Yes,
everybody.
ma'am.
All right, let's do this. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mastermind Sunday. And for all of you who were here last week, we started with the 11 invisible laws. Now, these laws, as we mentioned, they're always on. And whether you know it or not, they're always working. So it's important to know them. So when you're trying to make decisions, just like we were talking about earlier, all these laws kick in more than the way your habitual ways of thinking kick in and keep you where you are. So the first law that we talked about was the law of thinking, and the law of thinking dictates that we can only attract what we think. That was last week. This week, the second invisible law is the law of supply. So I'm going to read the short paragraph on the law of supply, and then Carolyn will go into different variants of it. So the law of supply depicts that the universe is a source of unlimited supply. It is enough for everyone. If we focus on abundance, our feelings, emotions, and actions eventually attract abundance into our lives. It is possible to achieve success in any area that you're doing if you release yourself from the belief of scarcity. The universe does not restrict or limit on what we could achieve, but we do if we allow it. So in other words, get out of your way. So go ahead, Carolyn, I'll open the floor.
Well, like I did last week, I'm going to read a few passages from one of my favorite books, one of the ones that we'll be doing in our book club, which is Working with the Law by Raymond Hollywell, that was written back in 1968. And so under the law of supply, we talk about how we use our thoughts and how there is an abundance. Pazit and I like to call it the law of supply, the law of abundance, because there is an abundant supply of everything. So when we get into the scarcity mindset or the lack mindset, we believe that there is a shortage of a supply of everything that we could possibly need to achieve whatever we want to need. So that's where competitive mindset comes from, where you think, well, if I have, the other person will have not. But in fact, the truth is there's an abundant supply of everything. So if you can learn to think of your life as an abundant place in every way, then the abundance of ideas, the abundance of opportunities, the abundance of wealth will come to you. So I'm just going to read a few passages from the Law of Supply chapter. So I have a little passage that I often think about when I want to make sure that my mindset's in the right place. I say, your mind is a garden, your thoughts are the seeds. You can plant flowers, that's me, flower, or you can plant weeds. So you get to decide what side of that coin you're thinking of, from a perspective of lack or a perspective of abundance and an abundant supply. So every person, consciously or unconsciously, is operating this law in one or more of its phases. It works universally and on every plane of life's expression. We are all daily drawing into our lives the things we most desire and expect. Whether we attract good things or bad things, the principle operates exactly the same. It is so much easier to believe in what we see. Now, if we can see plenty all about us, we are willing to believe it and enjoy it. But later, as we are able to believe in the abundance of good, we shall then see and enjoy it. Thus, at the outset, the question is, which comes first, seeing or believing? As we study the facts, we learn that the latter comes first, and the law is founded on our belief, which in turn determines our sight. So it's not about what you see in front of you, it's about what you believe in. So if you believe that there is an abundance of everything for you to enjoy, then that's what you will get. If you see it from the other perspective, that's what you will get, right? So because some people do not see an abundance around them and do not enjoy plenty, is evidence that they do not understand and do not apply the law. In their blindness, they say that plenty does not exist, and so far as they can see, they may be right. But when they learn to see with their mind, with their mind's eye, they realize differently.
Right. So really what they're saying here is that we were trained to see, to go by our results, right? So we let our results affect us when really that's what they say, like we go by sight. And one of the things that you must do as a creator is you don't go by sight. You just use sight as your compass to see where you're at. But what happens is when we go by sight and we see, for example, the bank account is low, the relationship is not good, right? We go by sight, it gives us a feeling, right? And then the feeling keeps giving us more of the same. So lack, or, relationship that's not great, because that's where that's what we see. Now we're internalizing it. This is how we feel, and this is what we're receiving. So as a creator, you have the power to do the opposite, but you got to do it with your mind. So how do you do it? You have to feed your mind the thoughts you want. If abundance is what you want, you got to feed your mind of abundance every day. Now you got to remember, it took you a long time to form the habits that you have. So it's going to take you some time to undo it, okay? Because it took you a long time to do it. It's going to take you some time to undo it. How fast you want to go depends on how dedicated you are to the practice of creating it. You have to remember, we said this before, your mind is your workshop and you are the creator. You get to decide. So there's so many tools that you can use. For example, anybody who's trying to create more abundance in their life, you can take a walk and you could look at all the, like when I walk here, I look at how many palm trees there are, how many cars are there, how many buildings are there. When you go to the supermarket, are the shelves empty or are they full, right? It's like they're full. There is abundance everywhere that you go. And so you have to remember that the same abundance, every time you see this abundance, you can tell yourself the same abundance that is everywhere is available to me. You just got to tap into your unlimited resource, which is your mind, to create the unlimited supply that you want.
Right. And what happens to, most of us, a good deal of the time, is that when we do look at what is, which is maybe lack, right? The bank account, the relationship, we start to get a feeling that is worry and doubt. So when we feel those feelings of worry and doubt, and we allow those feelings to infiltrate our experience, then we attract more and more of the same. So the thing we dare not do, according to the law, is to fret and worry about supply. See, there's an abundance of everything always. There is no lack of supply. That's the truth. So we shouldn't be worrying about supply and whether or not there is enough supply or where the next dollar is coming from. Fretting and worry tend to restrict the limit that the supply at hand. It tends to close off the outflow of substance. That's all thinking stuff, whether that flow is small or large. So instead of lifting us out of limitation, instead of improving our conditions or increasing our supply, it drags us deeper into the throes of doubt and fear. Instead of expecting more to follow, we grow tense and anxious, which increases our fear and brings us less and less. Instead of tightening up our thinking, we must relax and become more expanding. So we've talked about this here before, the power of calm. I know Valerie reads Serenity every day from As a Man Thinketh. It's a fantastic chapter in James Allen's book to just read every day, or write it, as Bob Proctor advises to do, but just to read it, because when we're in calmness of mind, our feelings change, and we tend to look at the perspective of where we are from a vantage point of feeling better. And when you feel better, you feel abundant. You don't feel restricted. And the moment we feel restricted, that's when we go down that proverbial rabbit hole. So the proposition with most of us is that our power of attraction is too weak to meet demand. Supply, law of supply is law of demand. Our mind is like a magnet which draws unto itself its own like. A magnet can draw to itself in proportion to its power of magnetism that is generated or collected within itself. Our mental magnet is greatly reduced in strength by our worries and our fears, and our inflow of good is slowly closed off. If our mental force becomes too weakened, we may even repel what little good that is trying to reach us. So the abundance is always there. It's there for us. We're the ones who get in our way.
Absolutely. There's something that I read. There's something that I read last night. I kind of want to share it with the group. And so being a creator takes practice because we've been out of practice for so long. I mean, the last time we did it was as children, and then we kind of lost our way. So we'll take a little bit of practice. So I read this thing, and it's so funny because it happens to be from Sanguru. So hey, you see how the attraction works. It just so happens that you guys were talking about him this morning. So he says, if you fall 100 times in a day, what does it matter? For a committed man, woman, there is no such thing as failure. If you fall 100 times, 100 lessons to be learned. So if you commit yourself like this to create what you really want, now your mind gets organized. Why does it organize? Because you've taken a decision on which path you want to take. It's not organized when you're flip-flopping between abundance and lack and anxiety, sorry, I was like,
fear,
doubt, okay? Those are the things that fog your way. You can't see clearly anymore. That's why you can't create. So the most important thing is just to be patient with yourself and start over. Just like when you were walking, when you first learn how to walk, I think I read on average a person falls 2,000 times before we walk. I don't see any of us crawling here. None of us are crawling. We made it through. So always remember that example and be patient with yourself. And just remember, it's 100 lessons learned, and you just keep practicing at it. And, for the committed person, you will never get of your mind to create. You're starting to understand the laws of thinking, that thought is what molds your reality. And now that there is an abundance of supply of anything that you want, you just have to use your mind, your thoughts, your pictures. Why I say pictures? Because the pictures get you to emotionalize, and that's what you want. And emotionalize is the feeling, which is the vibration. So as soon as you vibe with it, so now you're starting to align yourself. So you have to align your thoughts. You have to align the way you feel, so your emotions, which aligns your energy and aligns your body. And now you have one force going in one way, not four forces, each pulling in each direction. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and even in this text that was written so long ago by Raymond Hollywell, it's understood that thoughts can disempower us because of our ways of thinking. He calls them drone thoughts. So it says here, if thoughts enter our minds that are not full strength, in other words, empowered and going in that direction and feeling good, and are not wholly positive like nature, the abundance of nature, we must comply with the law and destroy them. We dare not entertain a half-truth or a lazy thought without weakening our power of attraction and reception. Right here is an excellent place to begin with an inventory. We should sieve our thoughts carefully and separate the strong thoughts from the drone thoughts. The drones must be cast out and destroyed by refusal to accept them any longer. Then we must carefully guard every thought so that another weak one cannot unconsciously or consciously slip through to play destruction with others that are trying to do good. I mean, we give ourselves a hard time because we say, oh my gosh, I'm in this frame of mind and I don't know how to get out of it. And that's normal to feel like that. But understanding that there are invisible laws that are there to guide you and support you because abundance is your birthright, then all you need to learn are some habits that move you out of one place of thinking and using your mind to put yourself into the right place of thinking. So if it means you have to destroy drone thoughts, that's really the whole idea, because those drone thoughts are another way of saying you're getting in your own way, right? So your single thought must be abundance. As abundance and supply are one, then to use the law, you must think supply, talk supply, and live supply with every thought. Keep your thoughts so occupied with the idea of plenty that any and all the drone thoughts of lack or loss will be destroyed. So, I mean, the law of supply is just another way of saying it's the law of abundance. Everything is already here. So all desire is an expression of the will, while to expect good is to demand good, so that both are necessary to attract supply. Therefore, seek to adjust your desire with the law and expect that every good and only good can reach you. Then nothing but good can come. Think
Right.
about attract abundance and you will be abundant.
Yeah, I love Carolyn and I, as we were talking about the mastermind yesterday, she was telling me a story that she was going through, and somebody had mentioned to her, like, abundance is who you are. It's who you are, right? So you just remember that. So when the thoughts come in, just remember abundance is who you are. Love is who you are. So just take the adjective, you know, that you want, whatever it is that you want to create in your life, and just remind yourself this is who you are. So when the drone thoughts, basically drone thoughts are like thoughts that are not real, and they come and tell you, you know, like, no, there's no abundance. Those are the drone thoughts, right? They're, you know, I call it the monkey brain, you know? So when the monkey brain kicks in, you are strong enough and you kick the thoughts out. You're like, no, that's my old way of thinking. I'm not thinking that way anymore. So right away you go into correction, go outside your window, you know, look even in your house, how many chairs you have, how many, you know, crayons you have, how many pens you have. You want to see abundance? You're just sitting in your chair right now. You can look in your space and you'll see full of abundance, how many light bulbs are in your place. So it's really taking it that way. Now what happens is in like, say, the real world, when we take this knowledge into the real world, so Carolyn and I are always thinking of expansion. I'm sure as anybody, because our role here as a human being is really, it's all about growth. It's all about experience. You have to remember that we are all kind of like these little explorers, and that we create our own reality, and you get to choose what you want to create for yourself. This is why we have contrast, you know, there's abundance and there's lack. They're both the same side of the coin. It just depends which way you want to go. Okay, so you get to experience this side or that side. But once you've experienced one side, you might say, well, now that I've experienced this, I would like to experience something different. And in real life, as we're thinking of abundance, our mind is always focused on abundance, on growth, on wealth, on, you know, abundance in health and all these different things. And for me, I know that since I've been like using my mind really, really strongly, all these opportunities have been coming to me unexpected. I don't say, oh, I'm going to grow rich, I'm going to go work more hours. This is the habitual way of thinking. I'll go work more hours, I'll get more money. No. Opportunities are coming. I've been offered, for example, to be on the board of directors. I didn't even know what that meant. I had to like call Carolyn. I said, what does that mean? I just got an opportunity. What does that mean? You know, things like that. You get people who want to partner with you. You know, they're calling you. They want to partner with you. So what happens is you start attracting these opportunities into your life, and you know that all you're doing is like, my thought of growth and abundance is attracting all these opportunities in my life. And I started understanding the correlation of my thoughts and my reality. I'm starting to, you know, obviously connect the dots more and more. I do this every single day. I spend like close to 5 hours a day working on my mind, you know. That's for me, that's my work, you know, because I want to master. I mean, I've mastered it, but I want to master it on different levels. So I keep practicing more and more at it. So that's the way it comes. And I love like Wanda's story, because Wanda's story is a great reminder of, you know, she did everything, meaning we expected, we could have expected her to win in a certain way, which means she found out that Ellen DeGeneres is coming to Montreal. She found out that there was a contest. She had to send herself dancing, right? And she sent herself dancing. And last week on TV, when they announced the winners, they didn't announce her name. Now, this is really funny, right? Because this is the point where a lot of people would say, oh, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. Oh, this is ridiculous. This doesn't work. Instead, I remember, like, we're going back and forth with Wanda on a thing. I told her, don't go by what you see. Make sure you do not go by what you see. You're still a winner. You still got it, still see yourself as a winner. And a week later, she finds out that, she gets, I think through an email, she gets that she also won. And you know what's fun about this? It came in an unexpected way. Okay. Now, Wanda maybe would have, if she would have gone it the week before, I mean, we could talk to her, but I believe that if she would have gone it the week before, is that she probably would have thought that it was the result of all the actions that she took. Okay. Now she understood that this was as a result that she created from her mind. So that's the difference. And when you create it from your mind, it comes in an unexpected way. This is where you're like, I can't believe it. Usually those are the words of everybody. They would start the sentence with, I can't believe it. When you know you're starting your sentence with, I can't believe I created this, you know that you created it from your mind. And that's the thing. It's not you controlling the circumstances, but more that you're controlling your mind and you're receiving the circumstances are being delivered to you.
So there's a belief factor here. When you're in this feeling of abundance all the time, that's that feeling where everything is going so good. And I mean, we can have that anytime we want. We come to let our circumstances of our current life kind of interrupt that feeling, but you can still have that feeling anytime that you want. And when you're in that emotion, you are in a state of believing that things are working out for you, coming to you. You're in the receiving mode, in the receptive mode. Right? And the way Wanda did it is that she never put herself in the mindset of lack. She kept herself in this abundant state so that she kept expecting good, even though what she wanted did not show up in the time frame that she thought it should happen. I mean, it's like planting any garden. You think flowers are going to bloom according to your timetable, but nature's timetable isn't our timetable. So sometimes we're just off in the timing just a bit. So because her expectation was, it's going to happen anyway, and she allowed it, it showed up by law. Right? So had she could have gotten in her own way. She could have at some point said, oh, this is nonsense. I can't believe it. I tried so hard. It didn't come. It's not what, it didn't, forget it. And
the most important was the navigation. The most important was the navigation when it came to the point that she did not get it. She did, like on the last Friday, they did not name her name on the TV. That's really the turning point. That's where the faith kicks in, and this is where you have to hold on stronger. This is why we keep repeating, do not go by what you see, go by what you see in your mind. In her mind, she was the winner. She saw Ellen and she held on to the thought that's in her mind. She did not go by what she saw. And this is where you have to navigate that's why I say that's where you become a skilled thinker. Is you see these things, you're like, okay, you want to have fun, universe? Let's have fun. Remember that the universe is very playful. It's very playful. It likes to play with you and it likes to deliver it to you. And it loves it when, you're like a kid and you're like, oh my God, I did win, so you get that sense of wonder like a child. Watch children in a park, how they're always discovering their, even a little piece of grass to them is like, they pull it out and they're like, oh, wow, and that's really how the universe is very, very playful, and it works with you every single time. I can tell you this is like a lifestyle for me. I do it every single day. And I think I call Carolyn, like, honestly, like too often. I'm like, Carolyn, you're not going to believe. She's like, what now? I said, miraculous. And this is the kind of vibe and energy you want to be in, because it's so much fun. And, and you realize like you do have the power, and you do realize that it is by thought that you create, and the stronger, once you do one thing, you do another, what do you think happens to your belief? You become so strong, and now you have a knowing. It's not even a belief anymore. It's like, I know this works. I know that this is the way it works, and now it's just what else can I create? What else can I do?
And it is so much fun. I mean, if you think of it that way, it becomes such an adventure. you know, and the universe is sending us clues and being playful with us all the time. Pazit and I were just talking about this experience of mine, because when her and I were together last August, and I picked up a new agenda. Okay, because I write and I write and I write, and while I was out in Miami with her, I felt this real pull to be in a certain place, and I didn't really understand the pull to go to that place, which was down in the Florida Keys, but I made up all sorts of reasons why I couldn't get down there in the next couple of days, and I basically got in my own way, and I said, I've got to get back, and I used my logic, and I don't have time right now, and I have to get back to the other side of the state because I have things to do. So the universe had plans for this place for me, but I wasn't really paying attention, and it's almost like the universe kind of went, oh, she's not playing with us today. Okay, we'll find another way, right? And then later on, I realized that the place that I wanted to go was exactly written on the front of my agenda, and the reason why I would want to go there, which is all about Ernest Hemingway. I finally connected the dots, and it was like, oh my gosh, like the whole time I could have moved myself into that abundance of what was meant for me back in August, but I did get in my own way. But now I understand, and now I see. So pay attention, because abundance is in your thoughts, it's in your feelings, it's everywhere. And when you start tapping into it, every day is a real adventure, because what's going to happen today? What's going to show up today? What can I create with my mind today? And have fun with that, because it really is fun to play, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So logical.
That's right. When ideas come to you, I think that's what Carolyn is trying to say. When ideas come to you, you gotta, once you're very clear on what you're creating, when the ideas come to you, you know that they're aligned with what you've created. Okay, so she didn't understand the whole Ernest Hemingway, the keys were calling, and then she realized that Ernest Hemingway lived on one of the keys, and he wrote, I think he has like a place down there. Is that right, Carolyn? Yeah, and he rode there, and so she was called to go there. You know, the agenda, she got all these little clues, but she got in her own way. So anyways, now she's going to get out of her way and come back and go to the keys. But that's what we're trying to say. You'll get inspired ideas, and when you know that you're in growth, or like I know I'm attracting abundance, when I see things that come that are in line with abundance, like being a board of director, which I never thought before, I get out of my way and I say, yeah, please send me the details. It's the first thing I say. No, like, what is this? I don't want to be a board of director. I want to be a teacher. No, you get out of your way, because it comes in different ways. It's not like what you think. You didn't plan this. So you got to remember, all you have to do is hold on to that thought. So I think now, it's 7:30. So what we want to do is we definitely want to open the tables. We want to hear from you what you've learned. We've explained the law of, you want to call it the law of abundance or the law of supply, and basically that there is unlimited, and all the tips and tricks that you can do, and how you really, you have to create, and you have to know what you want, so you can align, like we said, your thoughts, your emotions, which align your vibration, which aligns your body, because your body, your body's like the car. It will take you to where you want to go, but you get to put on the brakes, or you get to put on the gas, but if you know where you're going, you want to get there, you know where you're going. So there is no mistake, and you will allow yourself to receive the good that you've asked for. So let's open the tables to anybody who wants to share what they have understood, because if all you get is get understanding, I think Bob Proctor says that all the time, because once you get understanding, you're able to apply these laws in your life. So who would like to take the mic and share with us what they understood from the law of supply today? We're going to go one by one. Okay, go ahead, Carolyn.
Hi.
Go ahead, Gabriella.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we
Good
can.
morning, everyone. So last weekend I got my certificate for being a yoga teacher, and the vibe that I had from that was so freaking amazing. I was on cloud 9 until like Monday or Tuesday, and then hearing Wanda's story was actually mind-blowing to me, because I think a lot of times when we hear like jumping on these calls and listening to how to, you know, thoughts are so powerful. I think, you know, I can basically say that a lot of times people tend to ask, like, how do I do this? Like, and does it really work? But seeing what happened to Wando this week totally blew my mind. And I'm finally starting to understand and listen a lot more carefully to my thoughts. So I'm very grateful to be part of this group, to have learned that for myself this week, because I'm a little bit more attentive to what's going through and trying to get rid of garbage. So
that's an awareness. That's so important, right? Because now you have the awareness. It's not like it's just kind of, it's jumbled up in your mind. You're aware that you're paying attention to the way that you're thinking. That's like the first step to all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think a lot of times, you know, it's not that, you know, we don't understand what's being said. We're logical that it does work, but it's being able to put into practice. So I love all of these tips and ideas, and actually seeing something happen to someone in this group is just like blows my mind. So yeah, that's it. I just want to share the fact that I think it's baby steps, and it's being aware, like you just said. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Gabrielle, well, first of all, congratulations for your yoga. That's so much fun. And it's all about monitoring your thoughts, you know, like keep an agenda, see what thoughts you're thinking of. You'll be very surprised. When I did it, like, you know, a couple years ago back, even sometimes I do it now just to do a check-in, you know. Every car goes in for a checkup, or else it doesn't run smooth, and we're the same. You know, sometimes I just I write down what are my thoughts, you know, like I think, and then I'm like, oh, where did that come from, you know, because we're consciousness. Sometimes we also pick up other people's thoughts, you know, so you want to make sure that your garden is clean. You want to make sure it's always clean. So that's fantastic. I'm happy that you're doing that. You understand that your thoughts are the creative power, and your mind is your workshop. So you're more conscious of it, and you're thinking, what am I thinking?
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, I kind of like read something in my journal that I had written a few years ago, and it totally put me in a bad spot for the whole day. And I had to like really focus hard to like get out of that, and just try to like get out of my own way and say, okay, now I need to try to figure out how to get rid of those thoughts and that feeling. So being aware, it's totally taken a different shape for me this week.
And replace it with the opposite right away. That's the you know, replace it with the experience you want.
Yeah. So you know that feeling you just talked about, cloud 9?
Yeah.
That's that feeling.
Always go back to cloud 9.
Everything is going well. When you feel that your thoughts are going in the other direction, put yourself right back in that moment of that cloud 9 feeling where you got your certificate and your achievement was just like so spectacular. Use that as your reminder thought. So, you know, you put yourself right back into the feeling of what that felt like, and you're going to raise your vibrational energy immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
That can be your own cue.
Yes. And totally, you know, like I find that sometimes we tend to forget that good feeling, and we sabotage ourselves 100%.
Always. It's a habit. It's a habit, but habits were formed, and new habits can be formed.
Yep.
So thank you so much for sharing, Gabriella. Who else would like to share with us? We're going to go one by one anyways. So Maria.
Like to share what they learned.
I got Maria. We'll call them out. You call the next one, okay? I call Maria in.
Okay, Maria.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thank you. First of all, with the law supply, I have lately especially gone around, and like you guys said, you know, look around and see, wow, you know, I have all this and all, you know, and you have so much stuff sometimes in your house that you understand that all of this are things that I attracted. I do love, Pazit, that you said, you know, using sight, I wrote it down, as a compass to where you're at. You know, because sometimes you just don't want to look and be like, oh, dang it, that bank account is a negative, or that, and then you're like, no, this is where your thoughts were, you know, a couple of weeks ago or whatever. Just because the cash flow is already there. You just haven't, it hasn't manifested the way it needs to come. And also, and I thought that was genius, especially, your little poem. I'm going to teach it to my girls, Carolyn, the one of your mind is a garden, and your thoughts are seeds. You can plant flowers and you can plant weeds. And that is very incredible, because this past week, I was thinking, working with Pazit, I thought of something, and this thought came in of a way to connect everything that I was doing. And it freaked me out. I mean, I was like, what, me? I'm not going to be interviewing. What? Like, no. And at this, and then Pazit, of course, is going, honey, but that all ties together. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to say it doesn't tie together. But it's beautiful, because it's moving towards the very uncomfortable, moving towards the, I was thinking about the way I'm designing the Instagram and doing all the things that I'm changing in myself, getting up and wearing color and doing my hair and, trying to do these things are so weird in my brain, because I have been such a back burner mom who just slops whatever on, and it's changing that persona to whoever you want it to be. And I think with the law of supply is understanding, like, it doesn't matter if you want to interview, and if this is what God wants you to do, and then Pazit's interviewing people and everybody else, he's like, wait a minute, you have your own way of doing it. There's abundance of people. There's abundance of everything. So for me, it was, and especially using it as a compass. I've used that a lot this week, where I'm like, whoa, and especially the feeling. I don't know if you guys, for me, that's how I know. That's my compass. I'll be like, I'll be happy and whatever. And all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, I'll get like a anger, or I'll get like a sadness. And I'm like, what did I just think? And that's something new for me.
More awareness.
Yeah. More awareness but especially of the law of supply, is understanding, like, there's, if the idea wouldn't have come to you.
Right. If it wasn't meant for you.
Right. If it wasn't meant for you to create. And when I also heard Wanda's story, I loved it so much, but more because it confirmed what I've always believed, especially for me as a Christian. Like, I look at the Bible stories, and all these people who were healed were people who believed before they touched, who believed before they saw, who believed all of this before their miracles said, and I thought, so it's always after, it's not faith activated until it doesn't happen the way you think it does, and you still believe the miracle is happening. Exactly. And I love that. So thank you so much.
That's a soft spot. You said something really great, and it's worth repeating, is that it doesn't come in the way that you expected. It comes in an unexpected way. So the most important thing is really hold on to that. I always say, hold on to that picture that you want in your head. So the picture of, her meeting Ellen, that has to become the point of focus. It doesn't matter, oh, she didn't get it, oh, she wasn't named, oh, it's not for you. All that, you push it off. You're like, this picture of me and Ellen, that's what I'm holding on to. And I don't care what I hear, I don't care what it is, I don't care which way it comes. There's many different possibilities. It could have came from TV, it could come from a friend offering a ticket, it could have came from another contest for you. We don't know. There's so many possibilities available, and most people think that because they didn't get it in that one particular way, that's it, defeated, doomed, it wasn't meant to be. No, that's where you amp up. This is where you amp up, and this is how you navigate. So
and I think that in itself, for me, was the biggest gift that you guys have given, and is the fact that I always thought, and I discussed this with Pazit this week, that I had to kind of make it, kind of like be like, oh, go over here, go over here, go over here. And then it has nothing to do. It's kind of like, whoa, let go, allow.
That's the how. We're not in charge of the how.
Right.
But I didn't defines us. We're in charge of the thought and what we want, and focusing like a laser beam.
Right.
Your mind on what it is that you want. And because there's an abundant supply of opportunity to help you get there, the moment you stray from that laser beam, or a magnet, I like to think of the mind as a magnet. Whatever we think gets pulled toward us. So you can use that any way you want.
Yeah.
But as a magnet, think of the properties of a magnet. The magnet is abundance. Abundance comes to you. The mind puts yourself in a feeling of lack and poverty, and what you don't have and what you don't want more of, that is going to get sucked over to you. So you get to choose your thoughts, and by being abundant in all ways, you can't help but attract abundance to you, opportunities, thoughts, things that are going to come into your life. They must. It's by law, because you're the magnet.
So good.
Right?
Thank you, guys. So good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maria.
Yeah. Wow. Great talk. Good morning. So many wonderful things are being said. I want to start with the most recent. Maria just said something really that resonated with me a few years ago. You know, often people say, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. And then when you're shifted, I'll see it when I believe it.
Exactly.
And, you know, that was such a key. That's such a key for me, because belief has to be strong. And, you know, I heard your poem that you just said, you know, your mind is a garden. Are they going to plant flowers, or are you going to plant weeds? And, you know, this whole journey and abundance, and here we are. The name of my company is Journey to Abundance. And it's like, you know, and what Pazit said earlier about, you know, emotionalizing this. So when I took a leap of faith, it was just because I believed something. I didn't see it. I believed it. And it was scary. It was really scary. And when I created the name of my company, Journey to Abundance, I had no idea how it was going to evolve. It was just a school project. It was a project in a program that I was in, event planning and management, and I decided to call my project Journey to Abundance. And at that time, none of what I do now existed. So it's just really interesting how life evolves and brings you on your path that you're supposed to. So it's been magical. It's been magical, and I believe in something without having seen it in concrete form. And it's really lovely. And, you know, I'm sorry, I forgot the lovely lady's name. Oh, Gabriella, the yoga teacher. Congrats to you. When I jumped into yoga, you know, as a yoga teacher training, I jumped in both feet. I had just come out from a recovery from serious back pain, and I had no idea how I was going to be doing this, but I jumped right in. And it changed my life. It changed my life in more than one way, in a million ways. So definitely, you know, there's a lot of supply there. There's a lot of supply in the ocean of abundance for all of us. And then I'm so glad I get to see that, and I get to see that in you guys. You know, so it's like, okay, it's not just me who's doing it. Oh, there are others. There are others. And there's more, and there's more. And the people that you come across, and then, you know, and then you meet some people that kind of brings your magnetism, you guys were saying. You know, they'll kind of affect your magnetism just for a little while, and then you kind of start doubting it, and then belief comes and steps in again, like, no, I'm here, get back on the wagon here. And then you get back on the wagon, and you control your thoughts. Yeah. So it's,
I love what you said. I absolutely love what you said, and it's true. And that's why I think, like, I always say, you know, work with pictures. Why? Because, you know, they say you can't see it, you know, you got to see it to believe it. But I say, well, we can see it to believe it if we create it in a physical terms. You know, this is why I work with everybody in photos. This is what I learned through my photography work, is that really, if a person can see themselves the success that they want, if they want to see themselves as the New York Times bestseller, well, they got to get out of the way of seeing themselves as, say, for example, this guy who was a car salesman. You got to be able to see yourself already at the end result. So today, you can actually create it to see it. So you can strengthen your belief. You can use pictures to strengthen your belief. You can get dressed up any which way you want. You can put yourself in any environment you want. So you can create a tangible version of it until it becomes a real version of it. And the way it works is with a tangible photo, you impress it on your mind. That's how it works. It's what does it mean to impress it on your mind? It's the power of repetition by looking at that photo over and over and over. Like think of your mind like a printing press. You know, my father was a printer. I don't know if I mentioned this last time. And so we would always see the rollers roll, and it was the same image being printed like a million times. The same image would be printed. And now when I use my power of creation, I always go back to that printing press, and I see myself printing that same photo of what I want to accomplish. And I have to tell you, it really helps. I mean, and I always feel good. And you can use music. Maria was telling me that she loves music, you know, being a little Latin background, right? So whatever it is that makes you feel good. But the idea is to always keep the same song, always keep impressing it. Yeah. So you can actually bring it to reality by creating it, even by taking a picture of Ellen and putting you with her in the same photo and looking at that same photo every day as a tool. Just until you master it with your mind, you can use that tool to master it. I remember watching a lot of things on being at a Bob Proctor workshop, and this woman came, and what she did is she took a picture of Bob Proctor, she cut it up, and then she took a picture of her and she put her and Bob Proctor together, and she looked at that image every single day, and they were on a stage, and she showed that image. That image was exactly the same image that represented her on stage with Bob Proctor, and she was one of his top consultants. And she said, I pictured this years ago, and she showed the picture, and I was like, Bob, wake up, you know, like, this is it, you know? So does it work? 100% it works. So use those tools. You have tools that you can use until you get there. And creating your reality is thinking of your future before your future. It's your future catching up to you.
That's right.
It's your future catching up to you. And this is what being a creator is.
And picturing it and then feeling what it feels like. Feeling is the secret. Your emotional connection to that outcome, to that feeling of yourself standing on stage with Bob Proctor at some future date. You're not thinking it as a future date. You're feeling it as a present day reality. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and real. It only knows what you impress upon it. So whatever that vision is that you have, not only see it in your mind, and like Pazit said, keep printing the image over and over on the printing press, then if you inject the feeling of that wish fulfilled, like what does it feel like for me to be standing, using her example with Bob Proctor on stage, like how accomplished will I feel, and all the things that come with that feeling, that's the universe clue to move you closer to that goal and move the goal closer to you. And the more you focus on it, your attention, your feelings, your thoughts, and then you all of a sudden, although you think it's just happening by coincidence, you start looking at different clothes to wear. You find different clothes are starting to show up for you to wear, and you start becoming the person, not just seeing the person in a cutout photograph, but you start behaving and becoming the person who you're meant to be. So when we say you are abundance, you are the person that you want to create before that person actually exists, if you're feeling your way through it. That's a really important part of the process, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That's why I say, well, pictures, there's always an emotional attachment with pictures. That's why I say pictures. As soon as you look at photographs, whether it's a memory or something, you go right into it. You jump right into it, you know? You remember that moment, you know? Carolyn was sending me pictures of her on the ocean and stuff like that this week. And I was feeling it with her. I was like, oh my God, it's like we were both there. And I wasn't even there. I didn't even know her back then, you know? But I felt like I was there just through the image. And so the image does emotionalize. That's why I say work with pictures. Yeah. So who else? Carolyn?
Oh, yes. I just want to add, Gabriella just put a post.
Can I just put one word here about pictures?
Sure.
So a few years ago, I did you know how we do the dream boards, dream charts?
Yeah.
So this was part of some of the things that I put on and I look at it pretty much every day. So some of these pictures are, you know, me in my element with my meditation. Like when I'm there, I am like floating, you know, with God as per se, changing, you know, not just cleaning the world, changing it. And, you know, going on hikes. With my spinal surgery, I had to learn to walk again. Are you kidding me? Going on a hike, climbing? And I did that. And this was once impossible. not a possibility in my mind because I couldn't even walk. And here I got to go on a hike. So there's a few other things that are on the board. I just wanted to, you guys were talking about pictures, so I thought, let me go grab my dream board.
Well, that's because the mind works by suggestion, and whatever you suggest to it, it takes you there, very much like a GPS.
Yeah.
Very much. You got to give it the thought that you want, and your mind will take you wherever you want.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I love that.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
So let's get other people to share as well. Yeah.
Who's got their hand up? Oh, Wendy. Hold on, Wendy. Hang on. I'm unmuting you. Okay, there we go. Go ahead, Wendy.
Button there. Good morning, ladies. Happy Sunday. Just in like my experience with it, I find that the more I focus on that one direction, and I guess some of you know when I was like completely unfocused, I still have like the other thoughts that pull me in the different directions, but I'm very much trying to work on one thing. And like Pazit says, you know, do the one thing. And then, you know, once you've got where you want to be with that, you know, then you can start focusing on the other things. And so I notice, you know, when I do focus in the one direction, the things start coming to me. Not always as I expect, or these ideas come and I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to entertain this direction because it is still in the direction I'm going. And then I do have my days where nothing's really working, and I go, and then I do have to reflect and go, okay, is this a lack of focus, or is it just not the time yet? And it's coming. So, and I do have to reflect a lot more on my thoughts right now, because I do have a lot of my own negativity, but it's coming at me that I have to reject. So, you know, and once I determine that, and is it people have sort of incepted little things in there and remove them, I find then I focus again, or I just go, okay, wait a minute. No, somebody has distracted me with their, like you said, you pick up on their thoughts when you're there. I'm starting to realize it's really important to jump into groups like this with the Mastermind, because when you try to have like sort of sessions with other people that aren't as focused or as redirecting to focusing on yourself, your own thoughts, your own ideas, I find it does get very distracting if they're not in that same mode. You know, and I do try to encourage other people, hey, well, you know, hold on, keep thinking the positive. So, but then it distracts me from my focus, because now I'm focused on trying to get them to focus.
Right.
So I've realized that I very much, it's that whole, okay, I need to, you know, that's why it's so important. The Sundays are great, because you know, I can realign myself with people who are focused. But again, yes, like I realize as soon as, and I'm much more conscious of it, and things are rolling. Not as fast as I'd like, but I do realize it's because I'm not laser focused. It's getting there, and you know, I am starting to trust more in the how. I did lose some trust in that more recent, fairly recent past, but past. It's going. I'm pushing it out. So yeah, no, I know it works. I know it does work. In my further past, it has always worked, and now it's just practice getting that back, getting that part of me back that just went, well, I'm just going to do that because this is what I want to do. It's good. It feels good. And my achievements, you know, I remind myself every day that no matter what, I'm successful. You know, I may not be rich and famous, but is that what I really want? Is that what my focus is? You know, I may get there, and it wasn't really what I I had thought was going to be. But at the same time, I do know that I've been very successful whenever I have focused, and it's reminding myself to keep focusing. What's next?
That's really great. You brought up a couple of really important things there. I mean, staying focused is, of course, it's important, but reminding yourself of your successes is super important. And I think I say this a lot, that I don't think we give any of us give ourselves enough credit. And that's part of how we feel good about ourselves. Being in a feeling of feeling good is not berating ourselves constantly for what we attach to the word success. I mean, some days being successful for me is just minding my mindset, doing my study, and spending time in relaxing mode, creating in my mind. I haven't achieved anything from the outside that would look like any kind of success or achievement. But my definition of success for this day is having accomplished what I've decided are my successes. What other people determine as successful for them is up to them. So you decide what means success. So when you say, I got to remind myself, you have probably 150 successes, in the first half of your day, but you don't give yourself credit for them. So the more you can say to yourself, listen, I did this today with the kids. I got this done today. I really felt good about, my environment today. I didn't allow anybody else into my personal mindset, because how they conduct themselves, it's not our business, right? We are in charge of us. We're not in charge of anybody else. So when you go to bed at night, take stock of every single great, wonderful, fantastical thing that happened to you today. And each one of those is a success, every one. So you'll feel good just by thinking that way, right? So you have great success, Wendy, with all of it. And every day when you think abundant, every day the success increases and your accomplishment increases, and more opportunity comes to help you do that. So it's really, really good. Remind yourself often of success.
Yeah.
And success is who you are. Success is who you are. You got to say that. You got to say that to yourself. Success is who I am. It's not something you have to achieve. It's who you are. Abundance is not something
like they say, success is a journey. It's not a destination. So for me, I truly feel that, because I am a person where I have all kinds of ideas, things I want to do, which again has created some lack of focus in specific directions, because I want to do them all, but I can only do one thing at a time. So
one at a time. They will all get done.
But I feel that I'm successful because anything that I have focused on, I have achieved. And so and every day there is something, and I do remind myself, like even, small victories, you have to remind yourself of small victories.
Oh yeah.
Said Carolyn. So some days, hey, for some people, just getting out of bed in the morning and getting dressed and facing the day is a huge win for them. And, because I do work with people that struggle with challenges and talk to people that struggle with that. So, and again, I look at it that way. If I've had a success, or sometimes, again, in light of, it didn't happen the way you thought. I've had that a lot of times, and I've overcome, and I just kind of go, oh, okay. Oh, well, then this is the way it is. And sometimes if it doesn't happen, I do get excited about, okay, how is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, for you to let go of the control, of how it's going to happen. That's why we get disappointed, because we expect it to happen in a certain way, and it didn't happen the way that we expected. So what happens? Watch your feelings. You get disappointed. I'm not happy. It didn't happen the way. So you don't care how it happens. You don't care about the how, right?
Just know it will.
You just hold one thought. You just hold one thought, Success is, success is who I am. And so therefore, that's all you think about. This is a success. That's a success. This is a success. And you keep adding your successes, and you stay in that feel good vibration, and you bring more and more success upon you.
Yep.
And just keep plugging away in in the direction that
only in that direction.
Yeah.
Success is who I am. That's it. You know, this was a success. I woke up this morning. It was a success. I took a shower this morning. It was a success. I walked today. It was a success. A lot of people, you know, in the world, you know, I think like, you know, I can't remember the number of people that don't wake up every morning. You woke up. Your heart is still beating. It's a success. I still have my sight. It's a success, you know. You know, I have my kids. It's a success. I have my home. Success. I slept in a bed. Success. So that's it. So everything that you see is success is who you are.
And that's abundance all by itself. When you look at all of those wonderful things, that is the definition of seeing abundance everywhere. And you are abundant and you are abundance. So everything is always working out for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. It's not something you're catching up to. It's who you are. It's your reality catching up to you in the physicality, but you're already there.
And that's like me now. I am now a morning person. I always used to say I'm not a morning person. I'm not a morning person. I was never a morning person. But, you know, last year I started getting up and going to the gym like 3 to 4 days a week. And I may not have had the greatest workouts. I might have been a little tired. You know, there are mornings I still fight with myself. It's like, okay, oh, do I get a little more sleep or do I go? No, you're going. And it might not be the best workout, but my success is I got my butt out of bed. I got to the gym and I did something. And then I know I always feel better when I leave. So, you know, again, when you want to stop yourself from and doing those things, just pushing through and doing it, you know, it feels better. So
well, you're training yourself. You have to remember, you know, habits take a long time to be formed. The habits are formed because of constant repetition. So whatever habits you form were because you constantly repeated them. You want to create new habits, well, constantly repeat the new habit until it becomes your new muscle. It just has to become stronger. Everything is always transforming. Nothing is like taking over. You know, one habit transforms into another. We're always transforming. That's
I now say I'm a morning person.
That's right. Now you're a morning person and you wake up and you're
I'm a morning person.
We do that to ourselves all the time. I've heard that expression before where someone says, well, I'd really like to do that, but I'm not a morning person. I said, so do you want to be a morning person? Well, yeah, I'd love to do that. So then do that.
Yeah, because those are all limitations. I'm not a morning person. I don't travel alone, right? I don't travel alone. Oh, I don't do this alone. I don't take care. Oh, no, I don't eat this. I don't. All those are like just limitations. If you were born in a different family, in a different city, you'd be a completely different person. You'd speak a different language. Take you out of this environment. If we dropped you somewhere else, you'd be a completely different person. You would. And you'd have different habits, different values, and so on and so forth. So keep going. Just one direction. Okay. Yep. And then Natalie, I think we haven't heard from Natalie. I'd like to hear what she, because we're going to get ready to Natalie and Wanda, I believe, is here too, right?
There we go. Go ahead, Natalie.
So the biggest thing I've learned is learning from lessons. So when something doesn't go right or isn't as I expect it to be, instead of getting upset about it now, what I do is I look at it and go, what do you need to learn from this? So it just makes it easier. And then as long as I hold on to that, then the next time the same thing comes up, if it does, it's like, okay, you learned from this before, you need to do it differently next time. So learning from the lessons versus getting upset is the biggest thing that I've been focusing on lately.
Well, that's great.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's a great lesson. Absolutely. That's the way you do it. And what about Wanda? You want to get Wanda on?
Yeah, Wanda. I'm muting Wanda. But she's not unmuting, you know.
My God. Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Wanda.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just at the cash. Okay. So, yeah, I want to thank everybody for this call. Oh, my God. I can't believe this is happening. Yeah, no, I'm at the cash because it's very bad at the ice is terrible. Anyway, I want to thank everybody because, yes, meeting Ellen is my ultimate goal. I believe I will do it. I believe that it will happen. And I've declared it, wrote it, see it. I'm actually dancing all the time. And then, like you said, like it just came to me. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say, guys. It's just crazy.
Crazy.
Everything you guys are saying, it all's coming true. That I have to tell you. Everything. you know.
So it's just like putting in the practice.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
You're in
It's just
charge
putting
of
it in
that.
the practice. Okay.
Well, I'm going to also be honest with you guys. The universe works in every way. Like I said, like about a month ago, I had a meeting, and in this meeting, I went by myself, and everyone said, "Oh my gosh, how could you do that?" I go, "Well, I had to do what I had to do, but I trusted the universe to keep me safe." In this meeting that I had went into, I had asked that, I mean, I'm very spiritual. I don't believe in a lot of the things that are out there, but I'm very spiritual. And I had asked the universe to say, if I'm going to say something wrong, can you please send an angel? Well, somebody did show up at the exact time that I almost said something that would have damaged my whole meeting. So even at your hardest times of your life, you will find the universe will help you if you ask. So I asked and I received. So that's it.
Well, I love it. I love what you said. You asked and you received, and it's so true. The universe is always with you. It's only in your mind. It's only in your mind that you make up this story that it's not, but it's always with you. So always ask, focus on what you want. Remember the laws. We're learning one by one. Remember the law of thinking. Remember the law of abundance. Practice those two. Every week we're going to build on each one. And everything is really in the practice. You want to see results. Start with one little thing. I always say, start with one little thing. Start with a cup of coffee. Start with I'm just going to attract a free cup of coffee today. Start with one little thing. Start building your belief. A muscle, when you go into the gym, you don't start with 200 weights. You start with 5, then 10, then 15, and gradually you build. So just remember, everything is gradual, and the more often that you do it, the stronger your muscle becomes. And so, Wanda, we're so proud of everything that you've accomplished, and it's fun to see other people in the group doing it, because I think that it gives everybody, it strengthens everybody's beliefs, because everybody was with you from the beginning, And
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, so definitely.
But I have to say, I love what Carolyn said, that, and both of you both said that I did not give up. When I did not see me dancing up on that screen and those 5 winners, you know what I said out loud? I said, God bless them. And I was happy for those 5 winners, not knowing that CTV News had a plan way behind what I was putting out, being happy for someone else. The whole key is when you're happy for someone else and really, really mean it from the pit of your soul, it will come back, that everything you wish and want will happen for you, because it's all about paying it forward. It's all about helping somebody else. It's all about, that's why I love about you and Carolyn. You guys are doing this on your time to help all of us. This will prosper you guys. It's all about paying it forward. And you know what? Everybody has a dream, no matter what dream it may be. It could be a dream to get married, a dream to have that house, a dream to be successful. It will come true if only you believe. And it's, I know you guys been saying it, it's like going to school. It's like always a repeat. But you know what? It does work. And I will send everybody a photo of me and Ellen together, if not dancing. I declared it.
It's already done.
But you should see my family. When I received that email at 7:00 Friday, I said, is this a hoax? So I looked into it, but I did not hear it on the news at 6:30, because my family, we were all talking about our day, and the kids are like trying to fight one another to tell their story of what happened that day. I didn't hear what happened on CTV News. They said that every person who entered the contest won tickets and get to see Ellen. I didn't hear that. My girlfriend texted me, and I'm like, yeah, right. So I had no idea until I received that phone call, or the email. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And the crazy part, whether you want to believe this or not, the person that sent me the email, the name is called Divine. Divine. You know what divine means? The power of God. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Like, how
Jay Divine.
Exactly. Like, God bless, everybody. And I mean this wholeheartedly. I really, 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 really mean it. And you know what? The signs are there. It's in the birds. I read license plates. So if I see an initial, like a BGN, I saw that about 3 hours before receiving that email, and it said begin.
Begin.
New beginnings. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
guys, I
you're
love you
aware.
all.
You're always aware, Wanda. That's one of the things that's so great. You are
Thank
living in a
you.
constant sense of wonder and awareness. So
Well,
I
you
mean,
taught me that, Carolyn. I had that since I was a little girl, but because of the life challenges, you know, your job, it could be stressful, having situations that happen that kind of like throw you off track, you kind of get like derailed and you forget all of those little things that happen when you were a little child where you had the gift. We all have the gift. It's how you want to see it and how you want to receive it.
Yeah. You forget who you are. So we're here to remind you. We're here to
I know
remind
you guys are
everybody.
all a blessing. You guys are
Yes, we're here to
divine.
remind everybody. And I think on this, I would want to wrap this up, Carolyn.
I just want to see, we've got Michael and DH. I'm not sure who that
Oh,
is.
there is? Okay, go ahead.
So I don't know if you'd like to unmute yourselves. There's no camera. They don't have a camera on. So I just want to check in and see if they want to share.
Hello
Michael?
and good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
How are you guys? So here's what I have to say. I this morning I decided that I wanted to listen and hear what everybody's saying because it's so powerful to hear everybody just focusing on what matters to them. And one of the things that I want to share with you guys, I knew that I wanted to share this at some point, but I'm going to do it right now, is some of you may have seen that I was in Amsterdam recently. And that is an amazing experience. The experience of thinking its results, I wanted to share this with Pazit, Carolyn at some point, but it was something that I manifested through my mind because at the beginning of the year, I'd always been one to travel. And I didn't know when or how I was going to travel this year. But somebody that I know that works in an airline company basically offered me just this incredible offer to come with them to Amsterdam for business. And I literally, it was unbelievable when I got the call because it was so last minute. But it was a complete it completed what I asked for very, very, very early on in this year. So, thinking its results, really attracting what you want is, it's just so powerful, guys. And I'm just happy to hear everybody like really just doing these calls. I'm happy that I'm finally jumping on and joining you because it's an unbelievable, when it happens, really. And it's all about the laser focus. So just thank you guys for this call. It's really wonderful.
Thanks for joining in this morning, Michael. It's so good to hear you. I saw some of your pictures, and isn't it amazing how when things show up in our experience, we actually can say to ourselves, I created this.
I created this and I deserve this.
Exactly.
And I think that that's the thing that for many, many, many years, things would come my way, but I never thought that I deserved these incredible experiences, right? Sometimes from a very young age, there was always that people saw the greatness of what I could do. People see the greatness of what you can do, but sometimes you're not ready for that, right? And so when you actually decide to just accept it and say, you know what, I do deserve this. This opportunity came because I asked for it, but it's because I deserve it. I constantly give back. I constantly pay it forward. I constantly give love. And so I deserve to be loved and respected in that same way. So it's unbelievable when we decide to win, when we decide to take charge of our life and our happiness. So it's and joining these groups and actually having the conversation to remind and to really like reset yourself, right? Because the reality is that we need to reset ourselves if we need to 20 times a day.
Yeah.
Like it's you can get right now after this call or this Zoom meeting, we can get bogged down and go, can I actually do this? And actually get stuck into negative thought, and you have to reset again. And remind yourself that I too have the possibility of getting every single thing that I want. So it's exciting, and I want to share more with everybody. I want to hear what everybody's doing because again, when you're happy and I'm happy, we're all celebrating one another. Your victory is my victory.
Right. And what I think, Michael, what I love is when everybody shares their story, because what it does is strengthens everyone's belief. And how do you strengthen your belief is when it happens to you, when people would tell me about like their own stories, I believe, but nothing makes me more of a believer when it happens to me. Right. I do it on a daily basis and I love it. So my belief is very strengthened. And so What we want to do is your story, how you got to Amsterdam, how you created it, how Wanda created her Ellen, her Ellen dream, all these little dreams that we have. And we keep sharing how we created from our mind. Well, it expands everybody to believe, and it's making our muscle of believing a lot stronger, and saying that if they can do it, I can do it too. 100%. Because we all have the power to create the reality that we want. We just have to use it.
100%, and to be surrounded by people that actually believe and know that you too can do it, right? That I think that's also, it's to really cheer everybody on, because there's no point of being surrounded by people who are not sincerely happy for you, right? That's it has to be sincere, guys, and we know it at the pit of our stomachs. We know if somebody's happy for us. We know if somebody's going to look in our face, and to have the power also to know if you're surrounded by people who are not happy for you, to have the power and to choose to let them go, right? So all of that, it's making these choices, guys, creating a new world, and it's just wonderful that you guys have created this group, because again, it's proof that you guys are deciding to win in your own life. So thank you for having me on here this morning.
What a great share, Michael. I can feel the passion, excitement, enthusiasm, and you're just living in a world and a mind and a feeling of abundance. I feel it.
Yeah,
right? When we're in that feeling, like everything is possible. That's when all the incredibleness that shows up, that's the wonder that comes your way when you're constantly in that vibrational energy, which is, what we hear in your voice. So that's just so powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, life just flows, life just flows, and you want to be in it all the time, because it becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a lifestyle.
That's great. What I'm looking at what Wendy's putting up there, but again, I think it's to share, guys, for us to share each other, like share what we are all going through, because that is what encourages us to keep moving forward, right?
Absolutely. And you know what I find also, Michael, is that a lot of people, it's also when you've become a creator, you understand how the process works, so you're able to help other people navigate their thoughts, right? I said, what makes a skilled pilot, or what makes a skilled, what makes a skilled pilot is not when things go good. It's when there's turbulence and they're able to keep that plane on track. Okay. Yes. That's what makes a skilled pilot. That's what makes a skilled sailor. A sailor is only skilled when the seas are rough and he's able to get from one port to the next safely. So the same thing with the creator is to be able to get from your thought to reality, and you have somebody who can navigate you when all these things happen. You're like, oh yeah, that's good. That's okay. Just keep going. It's normal. Yeah. You feel like this. That's okay. Keep going,
And we all need that check-in. So, we use this, of course, because we love this and we love sharing with all of you. But Pazit and I share all the time. We all have kind of accountability buddies, right? So if you're feeling off track, that's going to happen. It's not like it's going to be a perfect, smooth sailing journey, but understand you have places to kind of replug, recharge, just to help you until you have a better way of getting there yourself, because you have the ability to do it yourself. But sometimes we don't know what we don't know yet. So we need to kind of borrow on the belief of others until we can get there and navigate our own ship on our own, and then we turn around and we help somebody else, and that's what we do, right? We're of service to other people. So thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. I'm just going to mute Michael, and DH is all I see on the screen. I'm not sure if DH is in the room. No camera, but I'll give you a second if you'd like to unmute yourself and share. And going once. We're glad that you're here, and if you want to unmute yourself, or we'll talk to you next Sunday. Okay.
Hi, Carolyn.
Yes, Kim, go ahead.
I'm sorry, my computer died. So I'm having technical, planet Earth to Major Tom not working today. So I got on the phone. So I'm sorry that I lost you for a while. I'll listen to the replay. But it was fabulous, and like usual, exciting, fabulous, and thank you. And thank you for sometimes when you can't believe in yourself, I'm reflected on all the things I've attracted. Like I can go on and on and on for hours on what I got unconsciously, just because I tell people, don't tell me what I can't do. Don't tell me what I can do. And then I'd attract these people that did believe in me, believed in themselves, and just were great. So example, the best one, Michael, thanks for reminding me of this, was my husband, maybe at a moment that I didn't believe I'd be able to have children at 40, him believing, of course it's going to happen. We're having a baby. And you know what? I have a baby. So it's like, why not me is something that I would always, when I worked with people, say, whenever I was in class or doing something, I'd say, what are you talking about? Think this way. Why not me? But I never applied it to me. I just did what I did. And now it's like, okay, yeah, why not me? And yesterday there was this I'll share, because you talk about being connected. So yesterday I had a mini retreat on water, if you can believe it. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to be comfortable with this. It's so scientific. This is going to take me out of my comfort zone. And I was talking myself off of actually participating and just cooking, because that's comfort for me. But instead I said, no, I'm going to sit there and learn something. And what I learned at the end was about electrons and H2O and how things are together, and how disease, or how water, how important it is, and how things separate. And that's like life and people. When our cell separates, it's alone, and cells have to be together. So that's where diseases and viruses and all the garbage that comes from that. And I applied that whole thing, destructive cells affecting the body and other cells, as destructive thoughts going to do that. So thank you so much, all of you.
That's great. And what a fantastic way of seeing it and understanding it and applying it.
Thanks.
That's how it works. So it's not just the knowledge that you're learning, now you're understanding how to apply it to be able to change the way you're thinking. So that's super, super important to understand that you're doing that. So that's really great.
Absolutely. And I think at this point, Carolyn, I'm going to wish everybody a very happy Sunday. I want to thank everybody for coming on the Mastermind, for waking up, for showing up. That is a very big success on its own. Remember that you are the creator of your life. You get to create your reality. So choose how you want to live this week. Choose what you want to create. Get clear on what you want. Remember the 11 laws that we're working with. At least, just practice the 2 first. We build week by week. So, go back to the law of thinking, go back to the law of abundance, and put it into practice. And I'm going to wish you guys an amazing week of creation, and can't wait to hear what you guys have created next Sunday.
Yeah, thank you everybody for being here. We love investing time with you on a Sunday morning. Pazit and I love these calls on Sunday. So what a great group, amazing energy. Everyone has like we can feel how everyone is moving their thoughts forward, and all sorts of great things that are coming out as you listen to everyone else's share. So thank you for being here. We love to have you here on Sundays.
So wonderful. So we'll see you all. Yeah, so we'll see you all next week. And just remember that you have the power.
You do.
So go out there and create a great week. We'll see you all next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.